Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's coming to you on the 2nd of April, 2021. Time on deck is 20:57 hours, Central Daylight Time. The secret plan from China has leaked. The secret plan to dominate the world for China's takeover has now leaked out. And what would you think? The number one thing in this plan is the subjugation of their main obstacle to world domination, the United States of America. Because if they can just get United States of America out of their way, they dominate for the rest of the day. Well, that's their plan. And this was actually revealed in a speech by Jen Conron. Jen Conron he is actually the associate dean of international studies at Rimna University. I guess I'm murdering the name there. But it's a Renmin University, which is one of the top universities in China. And he gave this speech, and it was supposed to have been kept secret, but it got out, at least the text of it, just recently, and it started going around the internet, mainly written in Chinese form. But this is a 5-year-old speech, and then he details how China is going to get the United States out of its way. And it includes things such as fostering enemies to keep us distracted. If it includes things such as by investing heavily in regions in the United States, actually using that as a means to control Congress, that and some other things. It also includes taking our allies away from us, a lot of our key allies, especially in the Asian region. So, wow, we're going to go into this. We're going to all this. I'm going to show you snippets of a video under fair use, of course, to illustrate some of this stuff. Guys, yeah, we can see this. This is no surprise. We can see this. This has been building, and this follows exactly what they've been doing. So you're just going to have to see this. It's just too much. So this is part of my eyes wide open and head on a swivel series, my friends. For all you swivel heads out there, that's what I call my followers here, swivel heads. And so I'm bringing this to you so you can know what's going on in the world, because there's a proposition on my channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. So I bring you news like this. I bring you news on how to garden, which is going to be very critical. I'll bring you news on how to eat free from the weeds and the trees. And I'll be bringing you more of this stuff. So subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all. That's how you'll get notifications. You have to click all, bang the bell and click all. Also share these videos to your friends and family so they'll know that you got to get ready and got to prep. We'll also talk about other ways to deal with this toward the end. And we're also going to talk about America's footing in the world, how to slip. Of course, part of that is dealing with this too. This is part of that, right? So I've got a couple of videos I'm going to show you snippets from. I'll show you a little map of Indonesia, and we'll talk a little about how India might actually be coming to our aid more than anybody else in some of this stuff. So, and in the future, I'm going to also do a video on what a war between the United States and China would look like. And yeah, I think that's more likely than Mr. Jen Conron's plan here. So, because he thinks that China can totally win this without a conflict. They might can, if we don't wake up. But I think we are waking up. This is the hope. So, by the way, one thing you can do is support my channel. That would also help you. And like I said, you need to garden. You need to get ready. You need to grow your own. So I'm gonna have to hang on, guys. I want to try to share, but I don't have. I was going to share open. Give me one momentum, please. So, yeah, sometimes I get that out of whack. Now, go again. We'll do the share. Bing. There we go. Let's share what's right here. Yes, truly market. This is an excellent sort of seeds that are non-GMO, non-hybrid. You can get heirloom seeds, open air pollinated seeds that you can plant, save the seeds, and replant and get the same plant back again. So that's the beauty of it. See, non-GMO gardening since 1974. They have great seeds here, great germination rates, and you just can't beat True Leaf Market. to go to them, see my links on my channel and my notes. You can look at it, guys. All kind of seeds. You can do microgreens. I have videos on how to do microgreens, sprouts, wheatgrass, supplies, and you can get all the supplies you need to grow with, including to grow microgreens, everything you need. If you've seen my videos on microgreens, I got all that stuff from True Leaf Market. So there you go. Plus, they also tell you how to do this. They tell you how to do it. That couple of my videos, you'll have what you need to know how to grow. All right, go to my links. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go over here. We're going to do some video sharing here, guys. We're going to go into some of these videos to talk about this. So we're going to talk about, see, what all this is about is China's plan to spread their version of communism, i.e. really to spread the influence of the CCP worldwide. Not only that, to essentially take over the world. So I'm going to play some little snippets out of this, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to comment on it as we go to keep this within the fair use. This is out of a channel called China in Focus. Let me see if I can open this up a little bit more. And here we're going to go to for a few seconds.
The plan is detailed and ranges from manipulating U.S. elections to propping up enemies in America's backyard to deep infiltration, all the while in a quiet and covert manner.
There you go. What about that? So we're going to skip. So does that sound familiar? Of course, it's in covert manner. The only problem is we got this video. We know a little bit about it, right? So that's going to help us out a little bit, guys. Therein lies our hope, is that we can do something about this. And quite frankly, you should know this without this speech, because this is what they're doing. I mean, this is what I've been talking about in my videos for some time now. Everything that's in the speech is something we've covered, quite frankly. But the fact that we now know that it was official speech, it just kind of like icing on the cake. It's the proof in the pudding that indeed this is their plan. Of course, if you couldn't see this was their plan, it's like, well, you're not looking, okay? I mean, don't listen to what they're saying, look at what they're doing. But hey, they did say it. So here you go, guys. It is real.
The original speech was given by a famous expert in China named Jin Canrong. He's known for
Jin Canrong. Boy, it's so hard for me to say. Jin Canrong. Yeah, how do you? That's not quite in my tongue.
For his expertise on American issues. He also enjoys a high position at one of China's top universities. Multiple China experts say Jin's speech is credible, as his main points line up with the Chinese regime's actions over the past few decades. His comments are particularly valuable because they provide a rare glimpse into the mindset of communist leaders, what they think of the US and their planned moves against it. Jing says the CCP has a 100-year plan.
Yeah, that's it. The 100-year plan goes back, though, from the inception of the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, taking over mainland China after they rousted the Republic of China out, and of course the Republic of China fled to Formosa, or the island of Taiwan, as you know, which we often refer to as Taiwan. Typically, actually their official name is Republic of China, but we do refer to that nation as Taiwan. Of course, the CCP wouldn't want us to call them a nation. They were the original China. We recognized them as China for some time before we recognized the People's Republic of China, which is run by the CCP out of Beijing. So, of course, the Republic of China is run out of Taipei, the city in Taiwan, or on the island of Formosa, however you want to look at that. But so basically, this 100-year plan is their plan to dominate the world by starting in 1994, but plan to dominate the world by 2049. So they plan for all this to be in place. But as I've talked about some other videos, really and truly, given their demographics, they're going to have to pull this off faster if they're going to make it happen. And that's what it's looking like. And again, what they're saying is the biggest obstacle to their plan is the United States. Now let's go forward in this video a little bit more. Like I said, I'm not going to play this whole video. I'm just going to play snippets. Our language is funny, right? Here we go. Look at this. The next generation's task is to be in charge of the United States. By Jin Canrong, Professor Renman, University of China. Renman. Okay. Which is one of the top universities in China. So this is a real high respected person in the Chinese infrastructure. He's considered one of the foremost experts on the United States within China. So let's hear what our lady here's got to say about this.
By next generation, it can surpass and take charge of the United States. Jing compares the U.S. to the most valued employee in a workplace.
Most valued employee in the workplace. Surf.
Handsome, capable, and in their prime. In that scenario, the Chinese regime had just been promoted to the number 2 position. Jing says the regime wants to squeeze out the U.S. in order to reach the top, but does it?
So, yeah, that's what they're doing. And this is already underway, guys.
And dare to start a war.
Of course, we may stumble into a war. I'm going to talk about that probably in my next video on China. Real soon, we're going to be talking about how we could stumble into a war. And then I'll do a video about how that war might progress. So I've got a lot of material about just how this war could accidentally start and how might it progress.
So what's there to do? It has come up with other strategies. Jing says one of the main tactics is to become intertwined with the U.S. economy.
And that they've done big time. They're all intertwined with us. They've got, they're buying out all kind of companies and assets and property here in the United States. And of course, we've got companies, Apple, and yeah, hey, Elon, over in China.
That means pumping Chinese investment into the U.S. and controlling its market.
Controlling its market. Well, that's what they've been trying to do. And indeed, they've got a lot of investment here, a lot of buying farmland. They're buying farm companies. That's a scary thing when you consider the importance of our food security. And of course, of their dire circumstances of food security there. That's one of the top targets, guys, is food companies. That's why I keep telling you, you better be growing your own. Between that and our buddy Gates, our buddy Bill, buying all the land on the hill, all the land that he can till, or anybody else can till, maybe he won't till it. But see what I'm saying, guys? Food security is paramount. But fortunately, some of their access to the market has been challenged now. So like I said, this is a 5-year-old speech, but it definitely outlines what they're trying to do.
He says the more intertwined they become, the harder it is for the U.S. to fight back.
Indeed. See, they're trying to get all in us, and they're also all in our universities too. So keep that in mind with the Confucius Institutes.
But for Beijing, Chinese investment in the U.S. also serves another major purpose, influencing the country's political system.
And this is where it gets to be really interesting. And they've got it laid out. They've laid out the roadmap. Check this out.
Jing says the Chinese regime strives to make sure every congressional district in the U.S. has Chinese investment backing.
Oh, get that. Get that. They are spreading their investments out. Some people wonder why they're buying all this stuff in so many different places. This answers it. They are trying to have their hand in every pocket of every congressional district in the United States. Holy smoke. They want to buy every congressman in the United States. But just listen to the math they're talking about in here.
That way, the regime can directly influence politicians through.
Wow. Wow. Foreign influence? Is this already in progress? Some people think it is. Some people would say, shoot. Some people deny it to the point where they hoist the People's Republic of China flag right in the Congress. They'll still be denying it.
Through gaining control over thousands of votes. He added that actually the House of Representatives can be
the House of Representatives can be controlled. See, that's what he's saying. Yeah, we can do it. We can actually take over that U.S. House of Representatives. Wow.
Controlled, and explained some simple math to illustrate his point. The U.S. is home to over 300 million people. In the House, the number of representatives is capped at 435. On average,
of course, this is just what we all know.
Average, every congressional district represents about 750,000 people, but only around 30% will vote in elections.
I get this. Only see our voter apathy plays in their hands, but also it's the margin of how many people actually decide these elections. That's why those of us that are politically active in the United States really matter in this case.
So effectively, a little over 200,000 votes decides candidates' fates. Jing says House races are usually quite close. He estimates the gap between each candidate is less than 10,000.
And that's it right there. 10,000. So if you have thousands of votes on your hands, you're the candidate's dead. So if you can figure out how to be the controller of a block of a few thousand votes, the candidate has to pay you attention. The candidate has to listen to you. And they're trying to make this happen in every congressional district in the United States of America. This is their way of trying to buy out the entire House of Representatives. Then, of course, they have money and other influence and bribes and blackmail and everything they can possibly play on us. And they are trying that.
In that case, he says if you have thousands of votes on your hands, you are the candidate's dad, meaning to say anyone who controls that number of votes controls the candidates and the election result.
Wow. You know, haven't we just had some big hoopla in this country over the past election? Nah, it didn't happen. Nope.
He went on to say that if China does a good job,
of course, only the Russians can influence elections in the United States, right?
It can buy the United States.
Can buy the United States, not just through the money and industries, but through the Congress. More specifically, the target is the House of Representatives. Of course, they could probably get the Senate and a lot of senators too with the same game, maybe the whole Senate.
And turn the U.S. Congress into the Second People's Congress of China.
Now that is what you got to get. Turn the U.S. Congress into the Second People's Congress of China. That is in his speech. That's in his plan. That is their plan right there, is to totally take over and dominate our Congress. Wow. Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. But now at least we know it.
The National People's Congress is China's top legislature.
Well, okay. We don't need to listen to that part. Wow. So, yeah, we'll be the number 2 one. We will be the number 2 one in this plan. My friends, this is sinister. My friends, this is over the top. So what he covered was how the CCP plans to foster enemies of the United States in our backyard. And they go on to talk about how China wants to set up 4 major enemies of America. And so what they wanted to do was set up these up so that we would struggle, that we would be just occupied with dealing with all these other enemies, all these other distractions, that we'd have so many enemies that we'd just stay totally occupied. And he went on to say that one of these enemies was terrorism. And another potential enemy would be like Russia. Of course, Russia isn't doing anything today. They're not doing anything to keep us occupied or to grab our attention on the border of Ukraine right now, are they? Nah, they're not rattling sabers against the Baltic republics, which are NATO members, are they? Nah, they wouldn't do that. Now, here's the other thing. Let me stop the share for a second. Here's another thing. They actually tried to develop Brazil as one of these potential enemies. They went into Brazil. They were behind Brazil going red for a while. I mean, Brazil had a communist president practically. But, Brazil wasn't such an easy target for them. It turns out Brazil's fairly conservative right now. So it flipped back. It didn't pan out as they had hoped. They wanted to turn Brazil into an enemy of America. Of course, now what they said is Brazil has the potential, but it's not fully up to the task. Well, it's probably because there's a lot of opposition in Brazil to having Brazil manipulated in that manner, because the Brazilians are just enough of them that's a little too smart to let that happen. That would be my guess. So credit to Brazil. But who else have they played? Venezuela. So Venezuela is our thorn in our side down in South America. And there's talk right now of Russia putting missiles in Brazil. Wow. What are we talking about so many times on this channel? Some notion that somebody might sneak up and do a sneak attack for Brazil. And now Russia's actually talking about mounting them there. We were worried about Iran sending them in. And now Russia's talking about just mounting missiles right in Brazil. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Well, the missiles they got in Russia today, it wouldn't be much difference putting them in Brazil now, especially with hypersonics. That would be equivalent or even worse than the old plan to have them in Brazil with intercontinental ballistic missiles. My friends, this is serious. This is craziness. So this is what we got to work. You know, the CCP also has plans to weaken us from within. Nah, we wouldn't think that, right? Nothing's happening to break us inside our country. We all love each other so much in this country. Everybody gets along. We hug, you know, hold each other by the shoulder and dance, right? Well, not exactly. We have some divisions, don't we? But they're also coming after us from the outside too. They want to rob us of our allies, as I mentioned earlier. So let me fast forward another part of this tape. Let's go back to it. Let's go back to this. Well, it's can I get it to go there? Hang on, guys. She is balking on me right now. I gotta make sure I don't end the video as I'm try to do this.
She noted that the regime also has other tricks.
Wrong. What happened there? Oh, it skipped another video completely.
The tricks up its sleeve.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I ended that video, it looks like. Don't even want to go back. Interesting.
Anyone who controls that.
All right, hang on, guys. Let me redo the share. Sometimes these tools are a little interesting to use, a little too interesting. Here we go. Now we're back. All right. And I'm going to skip forward to 2134. Let me open that up. Yeah, so I can't play this whole video. I don't want to do that to these guys. So we're just going to do part of it here. And of course, I'm editorializing this video. So this is the guy who gave the speech. This is Jin Canrung. And if you can read this, you might know a little bit about it, right? So here we go. We're going to play this for just a couple of minutes.
Jing's original speech is from 2016, and at the time, he said the regime had already taken control of the West and South. China hasn't militarized the Scarborough Shoal in the East, but had already seized the area in 2012. Jing explained that once China completes its control of the East, the South China Sea would become part of the regime's territory.
Okay, you get that? So what they're trying to do is set up total control in the South China Sea. Right now, we're still passing through it. What they want to do is really shut us out. They want to set up such a tight control all the way around that everybody's denied total access. And you know, they're actually, a lot of these islands are seized and are in what's considered an international exclusive economic zone of other countries by the Law of the Sea Treaty. I mean, some of these islands their seas actually belong within the exclusive economic zone of several of the countries. So they're going and take them, and they say they're ours and they're in our zone, and then they want to shoot at fishing vessels from other nations from going in here, and it's other people trying to make a living. So they're really seizing the South China Sea, but they have a reason for this. And now you're about to see, you know, part of it, as I mentioned, was to kind of set up a blockage, a first island chain to keep anybody from being able to reach in and attack China. But there's more to it than that, far more to it than that. So there's several reasons they want to take this. And here is a whole different take on it. Let's check this out. It's got to do with basically taking our allies from us.
Control in that area would give China the ability to choke out one of the world's most important energy and trade routes at any time.
And we're going to look at this from another angle, because this might backfire against them, possibly.
Almost a third of the world's crude oil goes through the South China Sea every year.
Now look, so they're showing it going to them, which that's also critical for our further discussion. Just going through this strait here, I believe that's the Strait of Malacca. I might have got the pronunciation a little off. This is a crucial strait right here, but this shows it going to them, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. These are key allies for us in the area.
A third of global shipping also travels through the region.
Third of global shipping. So there's a lot of stuff going to the United States coming through here.
Jing says this could put America's alliance with Asia in danger. That's because trade routes in the South China Sea are the lifeblood for two key U.S. allies.
There we go. 90% of the oil of two of our key allies has to go through this strait. Wow. So without these allies, where are we going to be?
Japan and South Korea. Both countries receive almost 90% of their imported oil through the South China Sea, and 70% of Japan's external trade is also shipped through the area.
So this is the lifeblood of their oil and also of their industry. So yeah, they would be in dire straits if they were shut off from this. So this is why China wants to be the gatekeeper for this whole region, this whole trade route through here.
Jing says if China chokes the lifeline of these two allies, they would probably start doubting the value of forming an alliance with America.
And there you go. Deprive us of key allies. It don't only do that, of course. Of course, like I said, this also, they have several reasons to take this. One is just that it takes United States power down because we are their main obstacle to world domination. Two, it gives them a first island chain in their defense, so we can't run our sorties right into their mainland for our power strikes. And it helps keep our Navy at bay because they basically got unsinkable aircraft carriers in those islands they militarized. When they were setting those islands up, of course, China said, oh, no, we're not going to militarize them. We're just setting these up to be fishing villages. Wow, they're so honest on everything. China lies on everything they do. You can't believe anything they say unless you catch or intercept something like this. Now, when they're telling you all the bad things they're going to do to you, you better listen. And that's what's going on here. They're really laying it out here. So also, what else is in the area? China's got a large population, man. They're going over the world, and other countries, exclusive economic zones worldwide, like Chile and other places, and with huge fishing fleets and depleting fish in these other areas. So yeah, they want to fish this area. This area has huge oil reserves. So there's huge economic bonuses and benefits to gain by out of territory that belongs officially to the exclusive economic zone of several other nations in that area. They're essentially seizing it. So these other nations are somewhat less than totally ecstatic about this. But the key thing is to take down their key opposition to world domination. And by depriving us of key allies like South Korea and Japan, they think this is one of the main roadblocks that tying us up in the world with all enemies all over the place. And by taking our Congress, we just won't be able to deal with them. They'll be able to take everything. And it's one of the key is they're going to talk about it in here in the South Indian Sea, Diego Garcia. They really think they can take Diego Garcia. Wow.
For Beijing, gaining control of the South China Sea gives it the ability to kill two birds with one stone.
Kill two birds with one stone? No, it's a lot more than that. It's like a flock of birds.
From the alliance, a bigger target is the U.S. military. The U.S. military can project power in the Indian Ocean largely because it maintains a pivot point there. It's a military base called Diego Garcia.
And there you go. Now, see, this is down in the Indian Ocean. See, they got a different strategy for this that they're already implementing called their string of pearls.
It sits near the center of the Indian Ocean.
And how many times have you heard of our guys coming down here to Diego Garcia and with the B-52s and making strikes, into these other countries or overflights? This has been a key point in our projection of power, a very key point.
And allows the U.S. military to quickly respond to any conflicts in the nearby region. Jing says if the CCP controls the South China Sea, it would be much harder for the Diego Garcia to get supplies from other bases in East Asia. Not only that, Jing adds that the regime is working to either build or control a string of key maritime choke points.
Yeah, they've got Sri Lanka tied up. Of course, they've just made a big deal with Iran, Djibouti, Bangladesh. So yeah, they've already set up a lot of these. But this may not all, this could backfire on them, depending on the center right here. This may be the key right here in the center, India. We'll talk about that shortly.
It's known as the string of pearls strategy. In the speech, Jing boasts that if the string of pearls strategy is successful, seizing the Diego Garcia base would
Get that? Season Diego Garcia. Season Diego Garcia. How do you do all this without a fight, but you're seizing something? So they're actually wanting to seize an American base. So how do you do that without a fight? Well, that seems to be what he's saying, but really? Come on, guys.
be a piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
If that becomes a reality, the US would lose its control over the Indian Ocean and its influence over the Middle East.
And you know what? That probably wouldn't sit too well with our friend India, especially considering their biggest challenge right now is China.
Effectively bringing its position as a global leader to an end. He claims using this method allows the Chinese regime to peacefully rob the US's seat, even without a fight.
I don't know how he gets that, unless he just starves a place out, through like a blockade. But we could still come around the Horn of Africa, right?
As a final note in his speech, Jing noted that the strategies he touched on are secret tricks and instructed the audience to keep the
secret tricks
information to themselves.
And there you go. This was supposed to be secret tricks, but it got out. Thankfully, and therein lies our hope, because we can prove now what they're really up to. We knew they were doing a string of pearls. We knew they were trying to take over the South China Sea. We knew what a lot of it is about. But now we see why they're investing in the United States. Well, let me stop this share. Well, wait, I'm gonna leave it on here for a minute. We see why they're investing in the United States the way they are. So I'll finish this up in a minute. We're going to go to a couple of other videos here because I had so much trouble switching a minute ago when I stopped the share. So let's look at this, guys. Before we go there, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go to another video. We're going to come back to this topic. We're going to go to this video right here. This is the Uyhurs channel. It's a channel that I like because the Indians have really woke up to the threat of China, and they talk about it quite a bit. But in this video, they really spank on America for loss of power. That they're basically saying our day is done. So let's catch this right about here.
For decades, the United States of America dominated the world politically, diplomatically, economically, culturally, scientifically, you name it. America's influence was unmatched in every way possible.
But then we gave it away. A lot of it to China.
It was called the most powerful nation since Imperial Rome.
And indeed we were. We spanned the world like nobody else. And with power. And even, out into space to the moon.
That was stronger than any likely combination of other nations. The world's tallest buildings were in the US. The world's biggest factories were American. So was the biggest movie industry, the best healthcare system.
Of course, the biggest movie industry now is Bollywood. Where's that? India, her country.
The best law and order. Cut to 2021.
Oh, well, best law and order. Wow. Wouldn't we love to have those days again? And you didn't even have to take away our bang bangs.
Now, and America's share in the global pie is much smaller. The playing field has leveled. The tallest buildings are in Dubai. The biggest factories are Chinese. The biggest movie industry is Indian. America's healthcare system is in a sorry state.
Yeah, said our healthcare is in a sorry state, and they show someone getting a CPR here. America's having a heart attack. That's what she's saying with this video. America is having a heart attack. Wow. The world order has changed since the Obama era, is what it says now. Well, it was already changing. It started in the Clinton era because he gave China most favored nation trading status.
India is
That's where we started
the
following.
world. There's a breakdown of law and order in the US. France
no kidding.
is fighting extremism. America is grappling with political unrest and racial divide. The US now looks similar to the countries it once tried to liberate.
All right. She just said, we look like the countries we used to liberate. She just said we're a third world country, big third world country.
It is no longer in a position to impose its views, its interests, and its values on the world.
Because she says we're morally bankrupt.
The post-American era.
I'm just telling you what she's saying. We're looking at this from the eyes of another country, from the eyes of India. That's why I'm bringing this to you. We're seeing this from the eyes of India.
Arrived. This report explores.
America is back. I'm running as a proud.
Not really.
Not really. Wow. See, they're just not buying it. So let's skip forward a little ways. Again, I don't want to play this whole video. We're going to play just some snippets from it. If I can do that.
And the UK variant is spreading rapidly. A new study says the mutated
That's not what I want to play.
virus is
Well, we're going to skip forward. Somehow that's not. We'll take it to the end here. Get your conclusion.
America is back.
America is far from being back. It is in a state of decline. Joe Biden will have to clean the mess in his own backyard first, before he embarks on his self-righteous promise of making the world better.
Well, there you go. So other countries are really seeing us down. Now, this is a country, India, this is a country we're going to need as an ally. So maybe we got a little credibility building to do. So I just wanted to show that because India is a powerful country that is rising up also to be a contender of China in the region. So there's going to be a lot of tension between India and China. This is why it may be in the interest of India to make sure that we remain in Diego Garcia. And they could probably help us with that because they're already considered China to be their biggest rival. And they're already looking at ways to block off the same straits right in here from their side to deny China access to its string of pearls and to oil from Iran, because there's Iran that is the gas station for China. And most of that trade goes right through here. So India's looking into ways to use their navy to block China. They think that because there's some key strategic choke points like the trade that's going right through here. I mean, they may have to reinforce it out through here somewhere when we might get a little help from Australia if we're not overrun down in this side of it here. But this is the primary route right through here. And we got a big volcano right here. See me waking up. Remember Krakatoa? Can you say Krakatoa? May not be the best place to go right through Krakatoa. And now it's called a not Krakatoa, which is the son of Krakatoa, and it's rising and getting and puffing a lot of smoke and fire now. The whole island blew up when it was Krakatoa once upon a time. It was the loudest explosion heard in modern society around the world. Yeah. It even had little ripples of water. They even measured in England as a result from that explosion. So ripples, it did ripple at least. I think the sound wave went around the world like 7 times or something crazy. I'd have to check it, but yeah, Krakatoa was a stupendous explosion. So India has a way to help us right here. Of course, we'd be involved in that, but this is one way to choke off China. So just wanted to point that out. India may be our main ally when it comes to this stuff. When it comes to and again, they would not want us to lose Diego Garcia, because they need us and we need them, because their biggest contender is the same one that wants to knock us off the top of the hill. So they would be interested in seeing us stay, because we don't really have anything against India, and India really has their hands full. They can't deal with China by themselves. So that might be their main thing, to use us to help ensure that they can cut off the choke point and deal with the string of pearls. So that, China thinks they can take it without a fight, maybe by dominating our Congress. Maybe that's how they plan to do it, but can they really do that? So there we go. That is their plan. That's what they want to do. Let me stop the share. This is what they want to do, folks. China wants to come in and they want to get us all balled up with other conflicts and other enemies. They want to take over our legislative process here in the United States. They want to be so invested in this country that we just can't turn around, that they're all intertwined with us, that we don't know, we can't make good decisions. And the money, our greed, the flow of money. The Russians used to say that we would sell the rope to them that they would hang us with. But China's far smarter than that. So they had all their tentacles had just been working their way into our nation, into the fabric of our country. They've been buying out Hollywood. They've been influencing our media. They're into our schools. I mean, they're into our industry. They're buying our land. They are, what they're saying, what they say is they're buying votes. And so they want to be able to control 10,000 votes in every congressional district, because they think that's how they can get every congressman in their pocket. Well, they ain't got there yet. And now we know their game, and they have been pushed back. So what we need to do is start right now pushing our congressmen to say, hey, let's don't let them buy more stuff here. We got to stop them from buying America. Our realty guys may not like it because, anytime they make a sale, they get a good commission, There may be a lot of people that won't like this, but this is the future of our country. We got to look ahead. We got to look beyond our little immediate greeds, because you might get a little money today, but tomorrow you're going to be in shackles. Yeah, so you got a little money today, but you're putting yourself or your kids in shackles. So we got to watch how we deal with this country, China. Look how they treat their people. Look how they're treating the Uyghurs. And the Tibetans aren't much better off, even though they're paying for ads in Facebook showing the Tibetans being, oh, so happy people. Yeah, go ask the Dalai Lama about that. Or go ask the Tibetans who volunteered to serve in the Indian Special Forces that kicked of the Chinese in the Himalayas not too long ago. Yeah, they were just looking for a chance to get back at them. They did a pretty good job too. So this is what you've got to bear in mind, my friends, is that we're dealing with a country that lies, cheats, steals. They stole our patents. They stole our technology. They're in here taking away all kind of information from America. Now, let me be plain here. I do not condone violence against Asians in any manner. No, don't go there. This is not a thing. The problem here isn't Chinese people. It's the party, the CCP, the organization. And because it's a single party system, it was destined, even if it had been started out totally good, it would grow corrupt. And if you believe that communism is great and wonderful, one party system will go corrupt. Power corrupts and absolute, power corrupts absolute, and they got absolute power. But I would submit to you that it never was great and wonderful. Never. The whole concept is bankrupt from the get-go. Sounds good on the surface. It's like flybait. Tastes sweet until it has you doing the funky chicken on the floor, thrashing and choking. If you want to see the difference between a communist system, look at the nation that has should be the richest nation in the world, because they got the most proven oil reserves of any country there is, Venezuela. Yet the people there are starving. Go to a country that has no resources whatsoever. It's one big city crowded on an island, and their economy is booming because they have a free market economy. Who's that? Singapore. Compare the two. The people over here are living, the poorest over here are living better than the rich over here, except for the people in the party control, maybe. So look at that. And these guys are being propped up by China and Russia and Iran. They're trying everything they can to prop these guys up and build them up, because they want this enemy of America right here at our footstep, right at our soft underbelly, right under the Gulf of Mexico, basically, because they're in the Caribbean Sea, which is below that. But we don't have radar installations looking that direction yet. We don't have any defense systems really covering that area. Stacy Savicki's vision could still come true of the EMP attacks coming from that area. So watch out. Watch out. EMP, electromagnetic pulse, take down our power grid. My friends, yeah, this is perilous times. Very, very perilous times. So you see, that might be another way that if the CCP wants war, they might use a surrogate. Iran, Venezuela. Because Venezuela don't have anything to do with themselves. Maybe they go Russian to doing something. North Korea. But I'd be concerned now that we're looking at Russia on the border of Ukraine. It might be the time we get distracted over here. You know, maybe they'll do something here. Maybe a couple other players will make a move too, like North Korea, Iran. They all move at one time. We might be going, which way to go, which way to go, how do we, what? See, that's part of it. That's why they always have so many enemies, have us so involved, so occupied. But see, part of their plan is cracked already. Here's the danger. There's several dangers. Part of their plan has cracked already. And they're really anxious to take Taiwan. Really anxious. I mean, it's just eating Xi Jinping to take Taiwan. And so this is why we are coming to more unstable times. We're getting more and more aggressive toward Taiwan. We've woken up to what some of their game, some of their tactics are beginning to crack. So they might be getting more desperate. This is why there's danger of war. That, and in fact, probably the most biggest danger of war. Nobody really wants a war between the U.S. and China on neither side. China would like to be able to take Taiwan and do it in such a way that we wouldn't attack them, or that they could intimidate us or maintain it local regional warfare. But that's hard to do. So once you kick that door open, you know, all heck breaks loose, things escalate. So there's a lot of danger in what can happen here and where it can go. We could stumble into WW3 easily. Let's hope we don't. So here's the strength, and here's what you can do. One is talk to your congressman, say, hey, let's stop them from buying stuff here. Let's boycott them, let's sanction them, and don't allow them to be buying assets and properties and companies in the United States. They've already been cut back on what they can do in our stock market, thankfully. See, that's a move in the right direction. I would say, don't buy their junk. Let's just stop buying their stuff. Let's just take the juice out of their engines. Quit buying their junk. And if you're in another part of the world, you're better off that way too. Let's just quit trading with them. Quit buying all the junk they want to sell. I mean, look what they're doing to Australia. Because Australia just happened to ask, hey, where did that bug come from? They just threw all kind of sanctions on Australia. They started picking on them unmercifully. And then China wanted to know, Australia wanted to know a little bit about what's going on with the Uyghurs. And then they just doubled down on that. So, you know, there's been a horrific trade war because Australia's biggest trading partner was China, the mainland China. And so they're suffering a lot because of this trade war. And it's tough on Australia, but Australians are at least standing up for principle. You got to give Australians credit for that. They took principle over greed. Salute Australia. So that the resolution of India, somewhat Indonesia, and all these other countries, they're not totally happy with how China has come in, mainland China, the People's Republic of China, and taken a lot of their assets. So there is hope. Also, some of those assets are made out of that cheap Chinese tofu concrete, maybe crackling and breaking up already on their newly built islands. So some of them might be kind of sort of sinking already. So there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope. Don't give up. But one thing we do is just take the fuel out of their gas tank and hold them back. We need to flip around and start working with Russia. Maybe they wouldn't be going into Ukraine if we had made a deal with them earlier to try to work with them against China. Because that is also their longest term. And right now, we're their biggest adversary. But if we could flip that, Russia might take a different attitude about things. They might play a little nicer with the Baltics and with the Ukraine. They're not going to give up Crimea. That's their main naval base, and the people there are primarily Russian, ethnic Russian. So they're not going to give up Crimea. No way in the world. They'd do a World War III to keep Crimea because that is their main warm water port. So yeah, don't. Yeah, we could surrender that in exchange from leaving Ukraine and the Baltics alone, maybe, and working with us against China. That would be my point. Ukrainians may not like that, but hey, why should they control that peninsula that was given to them by Russia, which is primarily ethnic Russians in the first place, and is mostly a Russian naval base center. So maybe we could even talk Ukraine into at least not cutting off their water supplies, take away some of that tension in that area. You know, give Ukraine some assurance that, hey, you're not going to get hit and taken over here if you would, you know, quit your claim here and support them in that area, and then use them against China. There's probably some way to negotiate something with Russia here. But yeah, so China actually has a plan, and it's floating around, of taking the United States out of their way so they could dominate the world. So if you're in the rest of the world and you're listening to this, their plan is to dominate you by getting rid of us. What they do when they dominate, it looks like shackles to me. I hope I'm wrong. But also, they got a short time to get this done. Their demographics aren't working in their favor, and they know this, and this may be why they'll push to make it happen faster. But if we can just hold things off until the aging aspect of that country catches up to them, then we'll win. We just keep them contained, keep them from going ballistic, keep them from, and maintain our freedom here in the United States. That's one of the key things. We got to maintain our freedoms. We got to stay free. That means we don't need to let them influence our elections. We don't need to let anybody outside this country, from any other country, influence our elections. We need to be resolute on that. We're just buying votes from inside because they got industry in the congressional district or whatever it is. All that needs to stop. External countries should not be dominating, whether it's Russia, China, or some other country that don't even exist yet. Venezuela, New Guinea, Zimbabwe, whoever. We don't have any country dominating our elections. I just sat through Zimbabwe because they're one of the most unlikely countries to do that. They do good just to keep themselves at peace at home. So that is it. We do have hope, but we have to wake up to what's going on in the world. And that's why I put this video out here. Is so you can see this, you can wake up and go, oh, yeah, we got to stay free. And you can do what you need to do. One thing you do is join a Freedom Restoration Foundation, because I think we'll be going in some of these things in the future. Right now, we're looking at some of these things internal, that's got us divided, trying to maintain our freedoms. That's where we're focusing right now, is on freedom. Restorations of our freedoms. Well, we can't have freedom if we're being taken over from outside either, can we? No, that's not freedom. That's shackled serfdom. So there you are, my friends. Now we understand. Go to the Freedom Restoration Foundation.org. Check out our website. We have a MeWe group. We have a Facebook group. But, those platforms can be taken away from us. The best thing you can do is to write us and tell us you want to join. Go to info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org and type in the subject line freedom. Send us an email. Say, we want to join. I want to join. I want to support you. And so we'll put you in the database, and you'll be getting maybe alerts from us and other things. We're not right now taking money. That may change as our cost and administration go up. So far, the website expenses, I'm financing it myself, but we're a growing organization. We've got a chapter, a very active chapter in Arizona. We've got people, our board members are in Washington State, Wisconsin, Arizona. We had one in New York City. We've got people here in Alabama and other places. So we're growing, and we've got our Facebook group is over 600 members. We're getting hundreds of people sending us email directly. So we're a growing organization. And you will find all this information down in the show notes below. You will also find a link to Truly Market in the show notes below, and also prepwithgreg.com, because that's a place you can go to get 25-year-long storage food. 25 years. So help me out with that too. Prepwithgreg.com. Check that out. And there's all kinds of prepping supplies there, because if all this stuff goes down, you need to be prepped. But if our food supply is at risk for many different reasons and areas, you're best just to grow your own. At least that way too, you know what you're getting. And I was going to do a video about chemicals in our society and how they're affecting. And they'll be coming out soon. A video about chemicals and how they're affecting males. How males are expected to be sterile by 2045. Yeah, just right. Sure. China's 100th anniversary, right? Wow. That's something you can do something about too. We're going to cover that in a future video and many other topics. So please subscribe to my channel, bang that update notification bell, and click all. Bang the bell and bang all. All right, my friends. Well, then I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do a live session tonight. and it will be at 11 p.m. my time. Just a good chance for some of us. When I do live sessions, that's just a chance for swivel heads to get together and chat because of all the social distancing and inabilities for people to gather and together. We're going to do it virtually. And so if you're catching this video later, you can go back and either view that or chime in some of the future sessions if you just want to chat with me and a lot of other swivel heads. We have a good time. It's just a family chat session. Anyway, thank you all for watching.